Where's Rob? Welcome back, guys, to the Rookie of the Year. Are we adding Rob in here? We're going to talk a little NBA Finals, NFL offseason, a little MLB. We're breaking down Thunder and Pacers. Talk a little bit about Rodgers to the Steelers. Where's my guy at? Come on, Gene. Um, we're also going to actually get back to our start bench cut. There he is.
Here we go. My suspension has been lifted.
Jesus Christ. All right,
What's up, y'all? How we doing?
we're gonna, we're going to start with the finals. Uh, OKC's kind of looked like the better team most of the series, but it's tied 1-1. Who's really got control going into game three, Rob?
All right. I feel like we're just on a broken record here with the Pacers. This was the same thing in the last series. We were tied 1-1, but the it seemed like the Knicks were in control. But the Pacers ended up winning that series obviously in 6 games. Same thing here now. 2 games in. It seems like the Thunder are in full control of the series. They dominated game 1 for over 3 quarters. And then they had the lead for, what was it, 47 minutes or 46 minutes. The Pacers only led for zero point 0.3 seconds in that game, and they won the game.
Crazy.
And then they come out game 2, and OKC dominates. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has looked like the MVP that he is. And Tyrese Haliburton, I know he hit the game winner in game 1, but other than that moment, yeah, I was kind of thinking that when I was saying it. I said it was 1-1, then I thought to myself, that doesn't seem right. It wasn't 1-1. But
Thank you, Wu Tang,
Halliburton,
for our fact check.
yeah, my ball knowledge isn't here right now, apparently. So Halliburton hits the game winner in game 1. But other than that, he's been a no-show here in the finals. So I don't know. If the Pacers are gonna win, they need their quote unquote superstar to step up.
Yeah, it's been actually crazy. OKC's basically led the whole goddamn series, except for that one moment. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's 1-1. Thunder have 16-point differential between these two games, and still 1-1 series. I think whoever wins game three obviously takes control. And I think whoever wins game three will win this series. But if you're the Pacers, you look at it like we stole one. We had them back against the wall for game two. Why can't we do that for game three? If they go win one, another game against the wall for the Thunder would be in game four. So I'm excited for tonight for game three. We got to talk about that moment for Halliburton and just how clutch he's been down the stretch. It feels like it's been the Halliburton playoffs, honestly. Like other than the Achilles injury in and Jason Tatum, it's all been about Halliburton this entire playoffs. Um, let's talk about his clutch gene. What's behind his late game success and how he just keeps on having these defining moments like he did in game one. I keep on saying he's having one and then he just ups it and he does it again. Talk about it.
Yeah. 3 times. He's at 3 game winners now in one postseason. And he hit the game tying shot against the Knicks. 3 of those happened to be in a game 1 as well. He hit the game winner against Cleveland in game 1. Then he had the game tying shot against the Knicks in game 1. And then the game winner against the Thunder in game 1. And it's just like, I mean, like you said, bro, every time this guy gets the ball on the last possession of the game, it's like the Halavan strikes again. The Paycom Center has been hit. He's insane. Like, and it's so funny because outside of all these clutch moments, like he's extremely inconsistent.
Hmm.
Like you look at game 2, he had 5 points. I know he stat padded in the fourth quarter when they were already getting blown out. He had 5 points through 3 quarters.
Yeah.
The game after icing Oklahoma City, but I don't know, it's just the basketball IQ. He has such a high basketball IQ. He tends to make the right decisions more times than not. And maybe that's part of why he's so inconsistent. Instead of being aggressive sometimes, maybe he just tends to make the right play instead. and
Hmm.
sometimes come back to hurt them. But late in games, I think that high IQ, and then he just shows great poise, always making the right decisions. Um, he always gets to his spot, whether it's a 3 pointer, a mid range shot, getting into the lane. Like he's always going to get, he's always going to find a way to manipulate the defense and get what he wants out of the possession.
It's crazy because I don't, if other than I think he had that one game against Milwaukee this season. I wouldn't say that Tyrese Haliburton would be one of the most clutch players in the NBA if it wasn't for this playoff run. I mean,
Yeah,
it's actually insane. I would have never chose like if even on the Olympic team, you have all those guys. Tyrese Halliburton's the last guy I want with the ball in his hands to go win us a game. But I would look crazy at this point if that's what I thought then. In the clutch, last minute, last 5 minutes, score within five. Halliburton's 8 for 13 shooting. It's insane. He's shooting 61%, and he doesn't turn the ball over. You see guys like I see it with JT all the time, but that pressure kind of mounts on those guys, and they end up turning the ball over. They make bad passes. This guy keeps making the right play every single time, and I think it's ridiculous. I'm actually in awe of what Tyrese Halliburton's doing, winning a whole
it's
finals
just like
game
he
by
has,
himself.
it's just like he has that ball on a string, man. Like he's a magician. I just wish he was more consistent because I don't understand how you can save the day one game and then the next game you have 5 points through 3 quarters. You're supposed to be the superstar, man.
Hmm.
I get he's never been like a score first guy, like he's a pass first player. He's a pure point guard, but you're the superstar of this team, or at least you're supposed to be. And it's the NBA Finals. You got to step up, man.
Even until that last play, it's crazy. They had Andrew Nemhard cooking SGA at the top of the key, and that's who they were going to go get
Yeah,
them a bucket. And then that last play, he's like, "Nah, give it to me," and he just sinks it. It's
you
actually,
heard, bro.
it,
There was with I think it was like 3 minutes left in the game. They were down by 11, and you could hear Richard Jefferson talking about Tyrese Haliburton shooting tour dates. He was like, "You can't have your superstar shooting tour dates." Because he wasn't even having a good game, and then he just pulls up and hits another game winner.
I don't know if that's
It's
more on Halliburton or if it's more on the Thunder choking. I really couldn't tell you.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing in that locker room, but it's some nasty stuff in there.
We repent, so we're not going to bring up the name. Like we're repenting, all that.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like let's talk about SGA a little bit. I feel like he's kind of been the alpha out of everybody so far in this series. He's obviously having his moment. Um, just give me your piece on SGA in this finals run and what it's kind of meaning for him to be able to do this.
I mean, he's been controlling the game in every aspect of the game. Obviously scoring at a high clip, and he's still been facilitating for his teammates. He's still been defending at a good level, although Nemhard did absolutely cook him late in game one. But he's just in control of every game. I mean, MVP for sure. Like Wu Tang just said, 70 points so far. I think this is you could fact check me on this one, but I think this might be the most points ever scored through 2 games in a finals career. I know
The first two games,
yeah, first 2 games of a finals career, I think he has 72 points. Allen Iverson has like 71. But and it's not just the scoring either. He's passing, he's rebounding. Yeah, Jordan did it. That makes sense. Passing, rebounding, defense, and he's doing it efficiently too. Like it's not like he's just chucking up shots, although he did put up like 30 shots in game one. But I mean, like this guy, he's getting everything he wants. He's just a master manipulator of the defense.
yeah, I'm not. We're all not surprised by SGA. I feel like at this point, like what I don't think that Indiana has the defenders to stop him, and I think he's just other than that one play going down the stretch where he missed that, and Nemhard kind of got underneath him and he kind of got rushed into his shot and he pricked it. but you're not going to see that night in and night out from SGA. You're going to see him get into his spots. You're going to see him like we're talking about dropping 30, 35 each game. I feel like he hasn't even been that bad of a free throw merchant. What do you think? I don't think it's been talked about in this first
Yeah,
two
I
finals.
mean, it's been ethical hoops. I mean,
I'm proud of
like
him.
you, the only thing you could really complain about with SGA's game is the foul baiting. Like that's really my only knock on him. And obviously, it is smart. Like if you're able to do it and it gives you an advantage, then you
The
should
thing
do
with
it.
foul baiting is because nobody can guard you at this point. So
Yeah,
they're jumping at everything. That's the whole thing with Brunson, with SGA. Nobody can actually guard them. So they have to guess. And when they guess wrong, they bait
and
them
that's where
into
I
a
was
foul.
gonna.
That's just how
That's
it
where I was
is.
gonna go next. Like this, because you were saying you don't think the Pacers have the defenders to stop SGA. I don't think any team really has the defenders to stop him. Like this guy,
Hmm.
his game is at such a high level right now. Like he's getting anything he wants in the paint, in the mid range. Like this is one of the best mid range games we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And then
That's why he
adding the
reminds me
three,
of
well, not
Kobe so
really
much.
adding the three ball. I wouldn't really say what was that?
He kind of reminds me of Kobe a little bit with his mid range game. Maybe
Yeah,
not to
for
that.
sure. I mean, yeah, I could see it for sure. The efficiency is probably even higher too. Like this
Yeah.
guy, it's like almost any shot he puts up, you're expecting it to go in. He's just
Hmm.
extremely efficient. He gets to the rim, he finishes with both hands. That mid range is deadly. And then the three ball, he's really upped the volume this year and the efficiency. And then, like you said, if you try to guess on anything, you're gonna send him to the free throw line. He's getting anything he wants, and then he can pass out of those double teams, find open teammates. Like this guy, he's playing at such a high level, man.
I think he's averaging 7 assists throughout these two games too. Like he's also facilitating. He's getting those role guys. That's kind of where I want to lead into this is obviously we kind of have this duel between SGA and Halliburton, but their role guys have kind of stepped up to Caruso, Wiggins, Lou Dort. How does he get them involved and how important are those guys? Maybe talk about one of them for a little bit, but let's talk about OKC's role players as well.
Alex Caruso has been, I think, the main standout. Obviously, he has. I saw a stat yesterday. Alex Caruso didn't score 20 points a single time during the regular season. He has two 20-point games in the playoffs, and one of them happened to be in game two of the finals. So the playoffs started, and I mean, it makes sense. This guy is an NBA champion. He's won a championship before with the Lakers in the bubble. So, like, this guy, he knows what it takes to win a championship. He's raising his game at every level. Obviously, we know the defender that he is. That's the reason why they brought him in.
Yeah.
But his offense is really taking a leap here. And it's just, they just have a bunch of high IQ guys, man, that know how to impact the game in any way they can. And I think Alex Caruso is one of the guys that leads that charge. He's just so smart. He knows what he's doing on the basketball court, whether it's the defensive end or the offensive end. He picks his spots well, and then he gets a lot of easy transition buckets too.
Yeah, those wing guys. Like I've talked to Josh about it a little bit. So, Josh will be back on next week, but about those 3 and D guys that they just have boatloads of them. And obviously, Alex Caruso is probably their number one, or actually, I would say Lou Dort's probably their number one 3 and D guy. But they just have guys like Caruso, like Wiggins, like Dort. Anybody that's not Jalen Williams on the wing is there for 3 pointers and defense and getting out in transition, kicking that ball around, and be ready to shoot the rock when SGA kicks it out to you. When he gets the defense double teaming and you're wide open. Like I heard Alex Caruso talk about it the other day. He's like, it's wide open shots. Like I love wide open shots. You know what I mean? It's nothing better than a wide open three in the NBA. And that's all because of SGA being like the nucleus of their offense. And Aaron Wiggins had a really good game the last game too. Lou Dort, these guys are just they're stopping, they're getting stops on one end, and then they're just spraying threes on the other end. And I think OKC's bench is really showing why they're here in the finals right now, and that depth has really helped them. for sure.
Yeah,
Do you have
for
anything
sure.
else on them?
Aaron Wiggins too. Shout out Wiggins. 18
Yeah,
points in 21 minutes off the bench in game two. I mean, this guy's he's incredible. This whole team is incredible, man. And like you said, bro, just a boatload of 3-and-D guys. And I think that's what makes this team so good. Everybody knows their role. Nobody tries to do too much. Obviously, SGA is the superstar, so he's going to pretty much be able to do what he wants. And then Jalen Williams as that secondary star. But everybody else, like Wiggins, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, like they all just know their role and they play it to a T.
yeah, for sure. And Lou Dort, when that guy's getting going, there's nothing you can do about it. When he's raining threes and they're dropping in like bombs, he's got that rainbow shot. That thing just knocks it
Yeah.
right in, honestly. All right, let's talk about Chet Holmgren. Um, how do you feel that Chet Holmgren is holding his own in his first finals, or do you think the Pacers are kind of getting to him? Because that game one, he kind of got the last 5 minutes got played off the court, wasn't even in the game. So let's talk about him a little bit,
Game one was a little rough, yeah, but game two he had a nice bounce back.
right?
15 points. The thing with Chet, I would like to see him be more of a rebounder at times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a great rim protector. And obviously they brought in Isaiah Hartenstein to kind of take some of that load off of his shoulder. But
Hmm.
sometimes they need Chet to just be that dominant interior presence on both ends of the court. And I think sometimes he kind of shies away from that. But he is a young player. Like he's only in his third year. And he missed his entire rookie season. So you could really say he's only in his second year. And I think he's doing about as good as you could have expected from a 22-year-old center. But like you mentioned, game one he kind of got played off the court late there. But game two he had a nice bounce back, 15 points, 6 boards, 28 minutes. He did a decent job protecting the rim, and I like what I've seen from him so far.
Yeah, I think he's really in there for defense. And you saw when that's when Indiana went on their run at the end of game one, is when Chet was off the floor. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It just opens up the paint when Chet's not there. Obviously, a 7-foot guy. The guy can average like 3 blocks a game in the NBA. That he's that good defensively. But like you said, the rebounding needs to be there. But I think he's another guy that can switch onto defenders like in the pick and roll. Like you're not afraid if Chet's on you, or if you blow by Chet because he's gonna be right there to block your shot, or there on the perimeter to force you into a bad shot. But I think offensively, he just needs to get going. I think he needs to get that three ball going. I think that's when their spacing is really good. Um, because he is a 3-point threat at 7-1. You know what I mean? He's like a Porzingis, he's like a unicorn. That's what he's meant to be. I'll give him if you were to give him a grade, what would you give him a grade? A, B, C, or D?
like a B minus.
All right, I'm right there with you. B minus. Like it's been good. It's been nothing like extraordinary or nothing that like you're gonna write home about what Chet Holmgren did in the final so far. But I'm waiting for him to have his moment.
Like,
Absolutely.
and the thing with me is my frustration with Chet sometimes is that a lot of guys overrate him, but I'm just looking at it from the perspective of he's a third option on his team. He's a third option on an all-time great team, and I think he's playing his role really well. I just don't like when people try to tell me he's like when people would say that he would be number one in a 2022 redraft. Like that's just ridiculous, bro. He's a good number three option on an all-time team. He plays his role really well. But we don't need to go crazy and overrate him.
Well, when you look at him going into the league, he was like the number one kid coming out of high school, played in the whole FIBA, I think under 18 or 18U. And so he had a lot of kind of eyes watching him. And then
He did
obviously
for
at
sure. I even watched him
Gonzaga, he
some in
was a
high
stud
school.
too. Yeah,
And I watched him at Gonzaga. He played with Jalen Suggs
right.
for Gonzaga. So I watched him a lot in college too.
And
Obviously,
then
he's
when
a
you
really
have
high upside player, but as long as he's on the Thunder, I don't think he's ever going to be like more than a third option just because the team is so stacked.
right. Then you have him getting stamped in the Drew League, with LeBron bringing him there, and then he tears his Achilles or his ACL or whatever happened, which is also brought even more eyes to him. But yeah, that was crazy. But Chet Holmgren, he'll have his moment. All right, that was quick on NBA. But let's talk a little bit of NFL. Let's pivot there. You want to talk about your boy Rodgers? Let's start us off. You
All
see the
right.
jersey? I think
Aaron
it's kind of like
Rodgers.
I think it's a gamble, but go ahead.
It's definitely a gamble, but I mean, it's a gamble that you have to take. I mean, you don't necessarily have to take it, but me as a Steelers fan, I don't mind the gamble. Going into this season, if we would have had Mason Rudolph at quarterback, I don't think we would have been that good. Like, we probably wouldn't, we're not winning a playoff game with Mason Rudolph. But at the same time, I don't agree with the other end of the spectrum where people think that with Mason Rudolph, we're only going to win 4 or 5 games and get a top five pick. I think if we had Mason, we probably win around 7 or 8 games, barely miss the playoffs, and then we'd be stuck in like the number 15 pick again. Aaron effing Rodgers. Bro, you swore that Aaron Rodgers was going to win 12 games and bring the Jets to the Super Bowl last year. So, I don't know, bro. Um, A-Rod, I, I kind of like the signing. It's just a 1 year game. Well, we only paid him like $13 million. I think the max value on his contract could be up to 19 million with all the incentives and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, he's not washed like people said he is. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of the guys that said he was washed, but I mostly just did it to mess with Gene because he was still on the Jets at that time. He had a pretty solid finish to the year last year. Obviously, had a horrible start coming off the Achilles injury, but
Yeah.
he settled down later in the season. He had a solid finish to the year, and then he comes into the Steelers with a coach that he likes. All I got to do is get insulted by this guy all the time. He, he's going to come into a coaching staff with the Steelers that he loves, and we got him DK Metcalf, a nice big physical receiver. I still don't understand why we get rid of George Pickens. I mean, yeah,
Could you
there were
imagine
some
both of them with
yeah,
A-Rod?
bro. Pickens and Metcalf together, two big physical receivers that you could just throw it up to. And DK Metcalf is more of like a route runner. He's like more of a precision guy, finesse guy. George Pickens is more of a guy you just throw it up and he's going to go get a 50-50 ball. There's no such thing as a 50-50 ball with George Pickens. 7 wins at the most. You're delusional, bro. 8 wins at the least.
We're not talking about the Jets here.
Yeah, like we're talking about the Steelers, bro. When's the last time the Steelers were below 500? Honestly, if we're gonna go 9-8 and miss a play, and if we're gonna go 9-8 and not win a playoff game, I'd rather just win 4 games and get a top five pick. Because I'm tired of being mediocre every year. It doesn't get you anywhere. You get the number, I think we had like the number 18 pick in the draft. That's not helping us. Like, if you're going to be bad, you just got to go all for it and be really freaking bad for 1 year. Like, you guys tanked for a couple years. Now you got Drake May, and he's probably going to be your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. Like,
Exactly.
come on. And then the Commanders, they get Jaden Daniels, rookie year. He goes to the NFC Championship.
When you're
You see
mid
all
and
these,
you have Cam Newton, you end up with Mac Jones. That's who you draft,
yeah, man.
and you're
Like,
fucked.
I'm hoping, like, I don't want this to be a I don't want this to be another mediocre season, you know? Nah, mediocre, bro. We're not talking about Mike Tomlin, bro. Mediocre Mike, he needs to go. He's the reason why we go 9-8 every year and miss the playoffs. But I don't want to go 9-8 just to lose in the first round of the playoffs again. Like I either
Yeah.
want to be really good, like we should either be going for 11 or 12 wins, or if not, we should just be at the bottom of the standings and be tanking and get a really high draft pick so we can draft a franchise quarterback. I'm just
Hmm.
tired of being stuck in this mediocre stage that we've been in for like 7 or 8 years now. I don't I don't really think A Rod is the answer, if we're being honest. He's probably like I don't think Aaron Rodgers makes us a Super Bowl contender, or at least not by himself. But and again, that comes back to the organization. Like We could have signed Aaron Rodgers maybe 2 months ago. Obviously, he didn't want to sign at that time, but maybe that had something to do with the organization trading away George Pickens. And I understand, like, there were reports that saying George Pickens asked out or he demanded to be traded. If that's the truth, then so be it. He didn't want to be here anymore, so you let him walk. But unless he asked to be traded, like there's I don't see the purpose for it. I don't I don't know, man. I still don't know this team's direction. We have Aaron Rodgers, but I still don't know the direction of the franchise right now.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know either. I think Rodgers is kind of like a band-aid. It's a little bit of a gamble. Like he gives you a little hope that maybe he might win you a couple games just based on the fact that he's Aaron Rodgers and might make a couple throws or
And
game manage a little bit better.
that's exactly where like I have a little bit of excitement, and that's exactly where it comes from. Like, yeah, we got Aaron Rodgers. Maybe we'll win a few more games next year and it'll be a fun season. But in the grand scheme of things, like this, it's not going to make us a contender and it's going to stop us from tanking. So where does that really leave us? Another 9-8 season? Unless we're just hoping that Aaron Rodgers is the bridge for Will Howard.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind that either. You let Will learn from a veteran quarterback for a year, or even if you have to re-sign Rodgers and it works out this year to 2 years. I don't think that's
But
a
if
bad
you
idea for a national
like,
champion quarterback.
and I like Will Howard too. I like his game,
Hmm.
and
Very game manager.
there's been chatter coming out of the camps and stuff that he's been playing really well.
Hmm.
But if you were gonna do a 1 year like stopgap kind of thing with Aaron Rodgers, why wouldn't you sign Shador Sanders? Why wouldn't you draft Shador Sanders?
Yeah,
Like we knew we
I don't
needed a
know.
quarterback and we passed on Sanders 4 times and then let him go to the Browns in the fifth round.
I feel like Sanders could be like a locker room cancer in the NFL, where Rodgers he can also be kind of like
Could be.
that, but I feel like he more people respect Rodgers, and Rodgers kind of has this aura about him where he's going to go in and do all the things that a veteran quarterback from the 2010s has done, and be watching film and be prepared and all that stuff. But your only hope with Rodgers is that he comes back after another off season of rehab and he's just feeling better and feeling a little bit more mobile, because that's where I think he really struggled with the Jets, because that team was freaking stacked. If you look at that team is obviously, if you look at Brees Hall, you look at Devontae Adams, you look at Garrett Wilson, he passed blame every week last year.
I mean, the thing with Rodgers is like when
Robert
he was
Sala was your
never
coach.
he
I
was
don't want him
never
coach.
considered a great teammate, but like none of this locker room cancer stuff was in the discussion until he played for the Jets. And we all know that the Jets are one of the worst ran organizations in sports history.
The Jets have had cancer running through them for generations. It's
Like
not just Aaron
this
Rodgers.
team has been beyond mediocre. Mediocre is putting it nice. They've been one of the worst organizations in the NFL for the last 50 years.
No matter who they have.
So I'm not just going to say that's all on Aaron Rodgers. Like your
But
organization's in turmoil. They've been in turmoil.
I think your defense is good enough to be able to keep you in games, and you have a veteran quarterback to be able to lead you and make the right decisions, you hope. I think that's where your kind of mind is. And Mike Tomlin, he needs one little crash out guy to keep the media off of him, and he's got him with Aaron Rodgers now. He got rid of Pickens.
We could have had, bro. We could have had this could have been the greatest crash out trio of all time, bro. Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens.
Yeah,
And then we traded Pickens. And not only that, imagine what this offense could look like with Aaron Rodgers throwing to DK Metcalf and George Pickens. And then you got Pat Fryermuth there at the tight end.
yeah,
And then we have Jalen Warren at running back after letting Najee Harris walk, which was one of my favorite moves of the offseason. I've never been a Najee Harris guy. So
yeah.
I
You
like
have
that
to
we
you
let
have to
him
move
walk
on from him.
and kept Jalen Warren. Obviously, the O line could still use more work. Bro,
Right.
like this
You're
guy's
missing
not
one
even
of the
listening.
words. Greatest
You're right.
crash out trios.
Nah, I one of the greatest trios of all time. They're one of the trios of all time.
It's right up there with Brady, Gronk, and Edelman. They're
Oh
number
yeah.
two. Um, Anything more you have to say on Rodgers and the Steelers? I want to
Um,
let your whole heart be. I want you to get it all out.
if the team doesn't succeed next year, I don't think it's going to be because of Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to be because of the coaching staff. And I think it's been that way for a few years right now. And I think everybody just ignores it because Mike Tomlin has this long history of never having a losing record. Oh, he goes 8-8 or 9-8 every single year. And then he doesn't win a playoff game. He hasn't won a playoff game in like 9 years. We started 10-3 last year and lost the last 5 games of the season. Pickens overrated and Rodgers a shell of what he once was. When Rodgers was on your team last year, you were not saying any of this.
Not at all.
The switch up is crazy.
Dean kept rewatching Hard Knocks like from the year before with Rodgers all the time. He would
He is
tell me,
consistent though. He has been he's consistently been a George Pickens hater. So I'll give him credit for that.
"All right,
He
let's
is a
move
little
on."
hater.
So let's talk a little bit about Nick Chubb going to Houston. Coming off obviously a major knee injury. Do you think that he actually has a chance? Like, are we looking at like a Dalvin Cook situation from a few years ago where he wasn't actually doing anything, or do you think he's actually going to get some play on Houston this year?
Um, hold up. Getting pop-ups on my laptop. All right. Nick Chubb. I kind of I kind of feel for the guy. Even though he came from the Cleveland Browns, obviously I hate the Browns being a Steelers fan. We hate all Cleveland sports. But I kind of feel for Nick Chubb. Like this guy was like a top 3 running back in the NFL. And then it all just came crashing down with the injury. And then he
Hmm.
comes back and then he gets injured again. And that initial injury, I was actually at that game. He got injured in Pittsburgh. I was actually at that game with my dad for his birthday like 2 years ago. Um,
Did you hear his
Nick
knee
Chubb goes
pop up in
down.
the stands?
Nah, we were almost touching the sky.
It
But
looked obliterated, like his knee got
yeah,
obliterated.
bro,
So
like I mean, we saw like on the jumbotron, kinda. It looked really bad, and obviously they took him from the stadium in an ambulance and stuff. But his career's just come tumbling down after that. I really feel for him. Obviously, I didn't like him when he was on the Browns, but you never want to see a good player's career get derailed by injuries, no matter who they play for.
yeah,
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's over for Nick Chubb. I hate to say it, but this many leg injuries as a running back, and he's getting older too. Like, I don't think he's gonna be completely useless. Like, he's gonna get playing time, but I don't even think he'll be 50% of what he used to be.
do you
I'm
think
ready to
Nick
eat
Chubb
those
scores a
words.
touchdown this year?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna get in the game. He'll probably end the season with like maybe 400, 500 rushing yards, a couple touchdowns, but he's not gonna be that 1,500 yard, 15 touchdown
Yeah.
every down back that
Hmm.
he used to be. But it's just a shame, man. Injuries really took a major hit on his career.
Yeah, I think you just have to be happy. Just like if you're Nick Chubb, just be happy that you are going to be able to put on an NFL uniform. You don't have to even worry about playing time at this point because the way that that injury and you're almost is it almost a year and a half, almost 2 years since that injury happened? It's been a while.
Yeah, that was week two of 2023. And he was actually like, bro, and I remember week one, he had a dominant game in week one. He had a huge
Yeah.
game. And
Hmm.
then game two, it was still early in the game. So Nick Chubb, like he was already doing damage. And then he goes down. I don't remember if it was the first or the second quarter when he went down.
It was
And then
early.
like, yeah, it's like everybody's breath in the crowd just like gone. It was eerily silent for a couple minutes there. And then he comes back last year. He plays 8 games, gets injured again, and now he's in Houston. He's only what, 29, 30 years old,
Yeah. He's got
which is
that
still get
longevity.
yeah. So he's had a decent career already for a running back. Obviously, running backs usually fall off like late 20s,
Mhm.
early 30s. So I wonder if Chubb can still be intimate with his wife. I mean, it probably just
That's
depends
none of your
on
business.
I mean, it just depends on the position, you know.
Yeah, he's obviously. I'm sure his
As
girl's
long
bad
as he
enough
doesn't
for
have
him
to
just
put too
to.
much strain on his knee, should be all right.
I'm sure he can just sit back and do whatever.
I mean, yeah,
He's
he's
Nick
Nick Chubb.
Chubb,
Pause.
but I think that running back room is kind of. It's it's got a bunch of guys who's on the later half of their career. You got Damian Pierce, you got Nick Chubb, you got Joe Mixon, but I think they all kind of give you a little bit of different flares. Like Nick Chubb might be that third down back to be able to get you like a third and short or punch it in at the goal line. I think that's what he's going to be made there for or be there for. Um, but I think Joe Mixon had a really good year last year. I think it's going to be hard to be able to take him off the field, honestly, even if
For
you are
sure.
Nick Chubb. But I honestly think Joe Mixon's going to be their guy there. But Texans weren't even they were 23rd last year in rushing. So they need to be able to have a more balanced offense next year. But they also had Tank Dell get hurt and also Stephon Diggs, and they were still throwing the ball, which is crazy. Um,
Texans. The Texans were one of those teams last year where I thought they could maybe get to the AFC Championship. This was like before the season even started. I
yeah,
had
because
really
people
high
were calling Stroud
expectations
top
for them.
five after that 1 year.
I'm not gonna lie, I had an appearance on Gene's show last year. I had an appearance on the pop off during the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might have said Stroud was top five.
Crazy.
That was crazy looking back on it. Obviously, he's a really good quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if he's top five next season.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just he's still so young. This team is still growing together, and they have a lot of talent on both ends of the field. Like this Texans team is probably going to be a Super Bowl contender very soon. And I think they're going to have a pretty nice size window to try to break through there.
They might have had one of the worst losses last year to get bounced out of the playoffs, and Joe Burrow just or not Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert just cooking them and destroying them and bouncing them out of the playoffs. It was not something that I expected last year. So Houston, they definitely got to make it back and bounce back after that.
I thought Houston lost to Kansas City.
No, I'm pretty sure the Chargers beat them.
I think Houston lost to Kansas City in the division.
Gene, you're supposed to be our fact checker.
It was like a low scoring game too.
No, Houston beat the Chargers. You're right. No, you're right. All right, scratch that. Scratch that point. Let's talk about one more thing in the NFL. I want to talk about the NFC North. Um, little quick division talk. NFC North, probably the most electric football or division in football last year. Most entertaining, I think. Do you think it's going to be a lot more of that, or do you think the Lions just run away with it?
Um,
You got guys like the Packers, the Bears, the Vikings in there, all making a couple changes.
I don't think they're going to be the most electric division. And I don't really think that's a knock on the teams in that division. The Lions are still going to be one of the best teams in the NFC, in the whole NFL, actually. The Packers are probably still going to be a really good team. The Vikings are not going to be as good as they were last year, but I still see them being like a 10 or 11 win team, maybe. But honestly, I think the cream of the crop is probably in the NFC East. And it really pains me to say that because I probably hate that division the most. Like, I hate the Eagles, I hate the Cowboys, and I hate the Giants. But that division, I mean, the Eagles, obviously, they're the reigning champions. There's no reason why they can't win it again next year. That team is stacked on both sides of the ball.
Hmm.
And then they played against a division rival in the NFC Championship, rookie Jaden Daniels,
Drop 50
led
on them.
Yeah, led a crazy playoff run, getting to the NFC Championship. Obviously, the Eagles absolutely annihilated them once they got there, but you still got to give them credit bringing that team to the NFC Championship game as a rookie. And then, and they beat the Lions to get there as well. And then the Cowboys are probably going to be back. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be a contender. Their fans are probably going to say it's their year. It's never going to be the Cowboys' year. But they're probably going to win like 10 games next year, 10 or 11 games. I think Dak Prescott's probably going to have a good season.
Yeah.
Um, and now they got George Pickens in there to go along with CD Lamb. And the defense is solid. And then the Giants, we'll see what happens with the Giants. I could see
No,
the
they're gonna
Giants
suck.
winning. I could see the Giants winning anywhere between like 2 and 6, 6 or 7 games.
Let's stay on topic. Let's stay on the NFC North. Vikings, Packers, Bears, Lions. You don't think that's going to be the most electric division in football? I think you're crazy for that. That was two. I
No,
think
bro, I just don't.
three. I think two of those teams last year won 13 games or 12 games.
Yeah, but
I
I think Minnesota is going to see a little bit of a fall off,
yeah
and I think the Cowboys are going to be a lot better than they were last year. Obviously, last year the Cowboys were banged up the whole year.
yeah.
They're going to be back healthy this year, so they should win a few more games. And then other than that, I mean, the Eagles are the cream of the crop in the NFL right now. I think the NFC East is just better. I think their teams are just better. The
I want to
Eagles are better
disagree
than
with
the
you.
Lions. The Eagles are better than the Lions. The Commanders are better than the Vikings or the Packers, whichever one you want to throw out there. And then the Cowboys are probably going to be that number three team in that division. Whoever's going to be third in the NFC North, I think the Cowboys are going to have a better record than them. And then the Giants and the Bears are both going to be not good.
Now the Bears are going
The
to be good this year.
The Bears are going to be a lot better than the Giants, though. I should say that. Neither of those teams are going to be good, but there's a difference between like 7-10 and 2-15.
Yeah.
I think the worst case for the Bears next year is probably like 5-12, 6 or 11. But there's a world where they could sneak up and get like 8 or 9 wins.
See, I think the Packers might be the ones that drop off a little bit, but I think it's still Lions and Vikings at the top of that division. But the Lions were talked about as one of the best teams in football last year. The Vikings were talked about being one of the best teams in football last year. I think JJ McCarthy is not going to be that far off from Sam Darnold with how deep that team is. You have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson. That team is so
Yeah, I
disgustingly
get it.
loaded. I think
JJ,
JJ might be able to manage that team.
he could come in and be what Brock Purdy was to the 49ers, pretty
Right.
much. You have a really stacked team around you, and you just manage the game and get wins. But once the playoffs start, game management isn't good enough to win a Super Bowl, so they're going to flame out. But I mean, you're not expecting the Vikings to win a Super Bowl with basically a rookie quarterback.
But I think the Packers might you add Matthew Golden to the mix with Jordan Love. Jordan Love really disappointed a little bit last year up until the end of the year. I feel like
Yeah, man.
a lot of people had him in those talks of being a top 10, especially in fantasy. I feel like a lot of people were drafting Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, and those guys just kind of shit the bed during the year.
That was all just from that glorious, I don't know if it was a Saturday or a Sunday, when Jordan Love destroyed the Cowboys and put like 50 points on their heads. Obviously, the whole football world loved seeing that, except
Hmm.
for guys like Buff and Mark and the rest of the Cowboys fans out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like after that game, that's where Jordan Love got a lot of credit. Obviously, he deserved credit for that win, but you can't just take one game and say this guy's like a top five or top 10 quarterback. I'm not sure where I would put him in the rankings, but he's definitely overrated, I would say.
And the Bears were kind of competitive. They had some games down the stretch with the Lions, and you add Ben Johnson to the mix and you pair him with Caleb Love and already you know how explosive their offensive weapons already is with DJ Moore and Roma Dunze. Um,
Yeah.
they should be better this year. I think this division is going to be really good, really fun to watch. And you got Ben Johnson playing the Lions twice a year. You know what I mean? You got that
I might
that
go see the
matchup
Bears. I might go see the Bears in November, and it would be interesting. It would
in
be Aaron
Chicago.
Rodgers. Yeah, it would be Aaron Rodgers in Chicago, but as a Steeler this time.
What is it? What month?
November, I don't know what week it is. November
This shit's gonna
23rd,
be
though.
cold, boy. This shit's
Oh,
gonna
it's
be
gonna be
cold.
cold as hell. I'm gonna be freezing. It's okay, bro. I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be decked out, all Steelers gear. I even got a mask. I went on a cruise in March, and when I was in Cancun, I got a mask, a Steelers mask,
Okay.
at like a little pop-up shop. Um, I'm gonna wear that because I mean it's gonna be freezing, and then I'm gonna be out there, bro. I'm gonna be out there repping like a real Steelers fan.
I love Chicago in the summer. I think Chicago's a beautiful city. I've also been there in like December time frame, and it was cold as fuck. Like I did not want to go outside. I remember those days,
And you're
but it's
from
nice,
Boston, so if you're saying it's cold, then yeah, it's cold.
bro. It's cold as shit, dude. That wind. It's nice
It's
up
gonna
there
be
during
fun though,
Christmas
bro.
time, though.
It's only gonna be like a 3 or 4 day trip. Go up there, see the Bears and the Steelers, maybe see a Bulls game if they're in town at the time.
Do some Christmas shopping up there. They got some nice stores.
Oh yeah, man. I've never been to Chicago, so it'll be a great time. And then I get to see Aaron Rodgers terrorize the Bears like he's been doing for how many years now? Almost 20.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll definitely be fun. Go to Gibson's, eat there. What else? What other recommendations do I have for you? Yeah,
And I
then
think it's kind of it really it's just great that the Steelers happen to be playing against the NFC North this season. This is kind of like a revenge tour for Aaron Rodgers, even though he's
to
not with
just
the
get
Packers
smacked
anymore.
around.
Nah, we're going 3-1 against the North, bro. We're beating the
Reverse
Bears.
it. You'll beat the Bears.
No,
That's it.
we're beating the Bears. We're gonna beat the Packers in Pittsburgh in October. I might go to that game too. Actually, I'm planning to go to that game with some family. So I'll be able to see, bro, I'm gonna see like the whole revenge tour. And I'm gonna see them play the Jets in week 1. So I'm gonna see
2-2
A-Rod
at
play against
best.
I'm gonna see him beat the Jets. Gene's gonna love that one. Then I'm gonna see him beat the Packers. I don't know any Packers fans, but I'm gonna find out so I can rub it in. And then I'm gonna see him beat the Bears. And
Not
then
planning to go to New England to watch Drake May walk all over your Steelers because
the timing just doesn't work out, bro. It's just not
boy
good
does not
timing.
want to waste his money on that.
It's just the
Drake
timing
May is
of it.
gonna kill him.
It's the timing of it. It's all timing, bro.
All right, let's jump over to baseball a little bit, and then we got one more start bench cut, and then we're out of here. It'll be a nice little short show. Um, so over the weekend, we got our Red Sox versus Yankees series. Red Sox take 2 of 3. Are they officially a threat to your New York Yankees in the AL East? After taking two
The
of
Red
three, we have
Sox.
another. Yeah, we have another series up.
I only saw one game. They only
No, no,
played
no.
on Friday, right?
2 of 3.
No,
Two
they
of
only
three.
played on Friday. The Yankees won. I saw that one. I didn't see the game on Saturday or Sunday,
How
so
many
it doesn't
times
count.
did Garrett Crochet strike out Aaron Judge in one game?
How many times did Aaron Judge homer in that series?
Same with Devers. I don't care. You should bet Devers for a home
Oh
run
man,
against the
it's like
Yankees every single game.
what's I want to talk about the Yankees a little bit too, but obviously we're going to start with the Red Sox. The Red Sox are not contending, bro. The Red Sox are not making the playoffs.
We're gonna get there,
I'm
bro.
I'm 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 sorry, bro. Like
I think
I'm
we've
sorry
lost
to break
eight,
it to you.
17 or 18 games by 1 run or
And
less.
we
It's bad.
talked honestly. Is that true? You've lost 17 or 18 games by 1 run.
Hmm.
Damn. And it's like I don't think the Red Sox are a bad team either because we talked about the Red Sox like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I gave them credit. Like they have a really good roster they have a really good lineup, and then their pitching staff, they have a decent pitching staff. They just kind of need some of those guys to step up and play better than they have, especially like Walker Bueller. But Garrett Crochet, obviously, he's been amazing. And then their lineup, Devers, he obviously had a poor start to the year, but he's been red hot. He was leading the MLB in RBI. Well, he was at least leading the American League in RBI until Aaron Judge passed him last night. By the way, he had another home run last night, Aaron Judge, 470-foot bomb. Did you see that? This guy's
Every
incredible.
time every time I
Four,
go to tune into a Yankees game just for like 1 second just to watch his at bat, and he smokes it like nine
it's
times out of
terrible.
10.
Like he's up to 24 home runs, by the way. But enough Aaron Judge glaze. The Red Sox, it's if they can get healthy, they can honestly sneak a wild card spot. They're
That's
not
all we want.
contending. They're not contending. I mean, yeah, and honestly, like I don't think like as a Red Sox fan, I don't think you're expecting your team to contend for a World Series this year anyway. So if you can just sneak into
It's
a
probably the most excited I've been about a Red Sox season in like the past like 3 or 4 years for sure. So
and honestly, sometimes those are some of the most fun seasons when you don't have that much expectations, but you know your team is like sneaky good,
yeah, you let the delusion
give
take
you a
in
fun season.
for to give you a
Yeah.
little bit of hope.
Like when your team is like watching the Celtics this year was just stressful because you have so much expectations to win. Look at the Mets last year. Exactly, bro. The Mets last year had no expectations. They were terrible going into the month of June.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden they put it all together. All these Mets fans are going crazy, rightfully so. They had one of the best in-season turnarounds you're ever going to see. And then they get to the NLCS. They push the Dodgers to 6 games, and then obviously they flamed out. And then exactly. Fans didn't expect and had the season of their lives. And now the Mets, it's like the complete opposite. Now they have such high expectations. Even though the Mets are 18 games over 500, it's like you expected your team to be really good.
Right.
So, like if they're not good, then it's a problem. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of where the Red Sox are at right now. You're just kind of hoping that your team can sneak into the playoffs and maybe give one of those top seeds some trouble in the first round.
Yeah, because you're in September, October time in Fenway. It's one of the hardest environments in baseball to play in. You know what I mean? That's just kind of what playoff baseball is. You let the fans kind of take over, and they kind of I think they have a little bit more impact than in other sports, especially in those playoff environments because you're going to be there 2 games, especially in
Like
Fenway. I feel like everybody's on top of each other.
regular season baseball and playoff baseball is just like they're so far apart. It's like it's not
Right.
even the same. It's almost like it's not even the same sport.
You look at the Rangers a couple years ago; they won a World Series, and now they're one of the worst teams in baseball.
And it's not even just the atmosphere, it's just like the game itself, the strategy that goes into it. Like
Hmm.
you'll see you'll see guys go to their bullpen in the third inning.
Momentum just kind of like snowballs in the playoffs. It's insane.
Yeah. You see a lot more bunts in the postseason, like a lot of more, what's the word? Situational baseball, you know?
Hmm. Right. Just a little
And I
bit
love
more
it.
tactical.
Because I'm not gonna lie, regular season baseball kind of bores me sometimes. I don't watch
Yeah,
that much regular season baseball. I
you're
still
just looking
keep
for
up
a
with
big
it.
play.
Yeah. I still tune in when I can, of course. And I still like going to games. And I'm still like I'm checking like I'm looking at scores, I'm looking at stats every single day, checking all the latest stories. But
Hmm.
I'm not gonna sit down and watch every single baseball game in the
Right.
regular season.
For sure.
And a lot of that has to do with there's just too many games, bro. There's 160 games. Who has time to watch 160 games?
Last
But
thing I want to talk about the Red Sox is Roman Anthony just getting called up. Had his RBI double with his first hit yesterday. Um, then the game before that, honestly, lost us the game with a routine. Just couldn't field the ball out in right field. I can get that. The nerves get to you a little bit in your first MLB debut, and you're the number one overall prospect in baseball. But I'm
I
looking
thought
to
they should
hope
have
that Go ahead.
I thought they should have left him in for that at bat, by the way. They shouldn't have pulled him.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you called the guy up for. Let him hit. He's the number one prospect in baseball,
Hmm.
but you could finish.
Yeah. I just hope this kid kind of provides the spark that we've been looking for on this team and gets the fan base more into it. You got the trio of Campbell, Meyer, and Anthony now now up, and I would have never told you that Anthony would have been the last guy to get called up out of that trio, but you give these three guys a chance to be able to make their mark on this team and to be able to kind of get their swing of things here in the majors, and this this team might change, you know? The way that Campbell's hitting in the beginning of the year, and you see Meyer actually hits a homer, and a Yankees fan has some class to be able to give him the ball back. I don't know. You wouldn't give him that damn ball back. You would have kept
I
it.
don't know.
You
I
would
would
have
have
held it
threw it
for
in the
ransom.
I would have threw it in the Hudson River.
You would have held that shit for ransom. You would have told him you wanted season tickets for life for that ball. For
I would have
Marcelo
threw it in the
Myers,
Hudson River, and then I would have made him go fish for it. I would have made him go swim for it with cinder blocks on his ankles.
I'm surprised to see that some Yankee fans still have a little bit of class. I was actually happy to see that. But that's my last thing on the Red Sox.
And
But
who's that pitcher you guys got? Dobbins? Is that was his name? Yeah,
yeah.
Dobbins.
The ones who got the win.
He wouldn't sign with the Yankees if they were the last team to give him a contract.
I'm with them on that.
Screw that guy. That's why Aaron Judge took him like I don't know how far it went, but he took him yard.
Who got the win though? We were having a home run derby that game against you
I don't
guys.
know. After Judge hit the 2-run home run, the game ended.
Yeah,
They called the game for some reason. It was weird.
that's usually how it goes for
Yeah.
you Yankees fans.
But just like that World Series last year, we were winning 5-0 in game five, and then like they mysteriously called the game. And then I still don't know
Aliens.
how it ended. I don't even know how the playoffs ended last year.
All right, let's talk a little bit of Tarek Skubal. Quietly, do you think he's the best pitcher in the American League right now?
Yeah, it's not even close. And
Yeah,
it's
I don't
no
think so
disrespect.
either.
And it's not it's no like again, like there's a lot of good pitchers right now, but this guy is just on another level, man. Like
Yeah,
I saw a stat in his last 11 games, he has 95 strikeouts and 3 walks. That doesn't even sound real, man.
it doesn't.
And he's going deep into every game. He's going like 7, 8 innings in every game. What's his ERA right now? I have no clue. But
1.92. I
this
got it pulled
guy's
up.
dominant, man. And like that game that he had, that Maddox game that he had, remember that? What was that, like a couple weeks ago or a month ago?
Hmm.
Like this guy gets better as the game goes on. Like the last pitch of the game, he struck the guy out with like 103 miles an hour on a fastball. Kind of reminds me of Justin Verlander, not in terms of like their play style, like their pitch style at all, but just in terms of like
The ace for
the
Detroit.
later he goes, the yeah, being that he played for Detroit, and then the later he goes into a game, it's like the better he gets. Like usually the second or time through the order, batters start to figure out the pitcher and stuff.
Hmm.
Like this guy just keeps raising his pitching another level every time through the order. Like his command is incredible.
I think he's got one of the
Just
best pitches in baseball. His sinker, he's throwing it like 98 miles an hour. It looks like a fastball, but it's just tailing on you,
yeah,
like almost like a slider. Like, what do you even do with that at 98 miles an hour? How do you even put a bat to the ball on
a
some shit
one
like that?
a 103. His four seamer is like 102, 103, and then he got a 98 mile an hour sinker that's breaking like 12 inches. Like this he's untouchable.
Yeah, it's him and Skeens are obviously the two best. They might go back to back on Cy
90,
Young, both of them.
95 strikeouts and 3 walks and 11 starts. That's a stat
Three
that really stuck.
walks. Oh my
That's like
god.
a 30, bro, that's like 32-1 strikeout to walk ratio over 11 starts.
And you always look at that ratio of strikeouts to inning pitch, and he's blowing it out of the water. I think he's like 90 to like 80 in strikeouts to innings pitched. It's actually crazy.
Yeah,
Um, Hopefully the Tigers get it going because it's always fun in baseball and the Tigers have it going a little bit and they're pretty good. One of the
yeah.
best baseball parks in the MLB.
Because the Tigers, it's like the Tigers didn't even go into like being mediocre. It's like the Tigers went straight from being a contender to being bottom of the barrel.
Hmm.
Like they've been completely irrelevant for like how long now? 10 years, nine,
Yeah.
10 years. And now they're finally starting to get it together. They got the best record in baseball. And you kind of saw it last year too. Remember last year they had from the middle of August into October, they had I think the best record in baseball over like a 40 or 50 game stretch to end the regular season. They
Hmm.
kind of rode that momentum into the playoffs. Obviously they lost to the Guardians, but they upset the Astros and then they pushed the Guardians to 5 games. And then they just carried all of that momentum into this season.
Yeah.
Like their momentum is really good when even Javi Baez has revived his career.
Hmm.
Because I thought that guy was dead in the water. Like everybody's giving them contributions right now.
Right. All right. We're a rookie show. We're going to talk about a little bit of this guy for the Royals, Jack Caglione. Do you think it's this guy played like 25 minor league games and then brought up to the MLB? Um, what do you have to say? Do you think the Royal? What do you have? What's your piece on Jack Cags? Since you can't say his name.
Jackie Cax, that is
Yeah.
his name. Yeah, Jackie Cax. I thought it was too early to bring him up. Like you said, he barely played in the minor leagues.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, we've seen he's played what? How many games has he played? I think he's played 7 games.
Right.
He's only been up for like a week, so he's played
Hmm.
7 games, and outside of one game, he's been terrible. He is batting 241 right now, but that's because he went 4 for 4 on
Yep.
Saturday. He went
Hmm.
4 for 4 on Saturday against the White Sox. You take away that performance, and he's batting 3 for 25. He has driven in a couple runs, but I mean, I don't think he was ready, and I don't really think the Royals are like in a position right now. I mean, they're only a game and a half out of that wild card spot, but they've still kind of been like skidding. But if I was the Royals, I would have waited until maybe August, September when the rosters expand and everything. But I mean, who knows, man? The only way to really get these guys some reps is to throw them out there into the fire.
Yeah.
Like you never know what you have until you actually throw them out there and see what they can give you.
Hmm.
So, although
He's
I do
projected
think
to
it,
be a guy like a 40 home run guy. Like if you
yeah,
look at his size,
yeah, but
he's huge.
I think it might have been a little bit early. But again, at the same time, sometimes you just have to bring a guy up and see what he gives you.
Hmm.
Worst case, he continues to struggle. Yeah, that's another thing. They started service time clock earlier than they should have. Because it could be good in the sense that he's getting the experience and he's getting the reps early instead of not bringing him up until September, and that's his first taste of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So maybe by bringing him up early, you kind of let him find a rhythm, get into a rhythm as you get later into the season, and then hope he can produce for you. I still think it was a little bit too early. I would have waited for a few reasons, including the one team just said with the whole service time clock.
I got a couple fun facts about Jack Caglione. From
Jackie
Tampa,
Cax,
went to Plant High School. If you're from Tampa, you know Plant High School. They're dominant down there in South Tampa with any sport. Another fun fact was also a college pitcher. Gave up the mound to just be an all-time hitter. He went to Florida, was on a couple of those teams that won national championships. But Jackie Cags, I'm gonna root for him. just because I went to high school over in Tampa, played plant in high school football. So I'm gonna rep Jackie Cags till the day I die. We'll root for him, and hopefully he puts makes a
I
name for
didn't
himself in MLB.
I didn't know that he went to plant. I didn't know that. But Rob never had the makings of a varsity athlete, bro.
That's fucked up. Um,
I have like I have so many things I could say, but I don't want to insult him on the air, you know? He's a good
yeah,
guy.
there's a
He's
reason
just
Gene has that little avatar because he's too ugly. Can't put his actual picture as his on his YouTube. But one other thing about Jack Caglione, there was this. He went viral a couple of years ago when he was in college. That his I don't know if you remember this. There was a It was during the College World Series. His pitcher had this big strikeout, and when you close out the side with a strikeout, you go crazy. You have like a whole celebration. Well, he got kicked out. His pitcher got kicked out. Jack Caglione, I think a couple innings later, grand slam, bases loaded, sends it deep. Doesn't even celebrate the whole way. Just walks in to the dugout through the through the plate, and it was just one of the most like it was like hilarious that he didn't even have to celebrate. He just stunted on everybody. And yeah, that moment was pretty cool.
this guy is 6'5", 250. That's freaking
Yes,
nuts.
this dude's huge. That's why he's got those like power hitting, like that power hitting frame that people are excited about.
He's like there's Judge, Stanton, and then there's Jackie Cax.
Jackie Caglione.
And Gene, I feel like this guy should be Gene's favorite player automatically.
Yeah, you would think.
That's a name, bro. He has a hell of a name.
All right,
I'm still gonna call him Jackie Cax though.
all right. Let's
That's my
close it
guy.
out. We're gonna have a little rookie segment. We're gonna talk start bench cuts. That's gonna be our segment this week. We're gonna start
Pacers in
off with.
6. That's a take.
You never know. After
You never
we'll
know,
see
bro.
tonight. They win tonight. I think they have a chance.
I think. Hold up. I know we're about to get into the rookie segment. I
Go
think
ahead.
whoever wins tonight, I think is gonna lose on in game 4. I think
So
these
you think
teams
we're
are
going
gonna
back
they're
2-2?
yeah they're gonna split the games in Indy no matter which
Mm-hmm.
way they go. Either Indy wins tonight and OKC wins on Friday, or OKC wins tonight and Indy wins on Friday. It's gonna go back to Oklahoma City tied at 2-2. And after that, I think Oklahoma City is going to win 2 in a row to finish it out on the road in Indiana.
Thanks, Rudy. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, we're gonna move on to that rookie segment because we didn't get to do this last week. We kind of had a long show. We're gonna start best rookie wide receiver season of all time. We got three guys. Mr. Gritty himself, Justin Jefferson. We have his college teammate, Jamar Chase. Oh wow, we have all LSU guys. We're gonna go with the OG, Odell Beckham Jr. Give me a start bench cut. Do you want me to start off or do you want to go first?
It's up to you.
All right, you start us off.
All right, so start bench cut. Obviously, this is all rookie edition.
Only rookies. Yeah,
So
only
this
their
is only
rookie.
based on the rookie season.
Hmm.
This might be a hot take, but I'm actually going to cut Justin Jefferson. Obviously, the way their careers turned out, he's probably turned out to be the best receiver out of the three.
Hmm.
But just in terms of the rookie season, I'm gonna cut Justin Jefferson. I'm going to bench Jamar Chase, and then I'm going to start Odell Beckham Jr. That guy's rookie season was absolutely nuts, man. He had like
Yeah,
1,300. He had what 1,300 receiving yards. He only played 12 games, by the way. He didn't even
yeah,
play
he
the
got
whole
cut.
year.
Yeah, he got hurt. Yeah,
Yeah. So imagine if he actually played the full 16 game season, bro. He would have had like 1,700 yards as a
that's
rookie.
true. Yeah,
Like this, he was nuts, man. He was absolutely nuts. And then Jamar Chase,
was that his rookie year? He
similar.
made the catch. Was that his rookie year?
I think it was 2014.
I think
Was
it
he a
was.
rookie in 2014? Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
rookie in 2014. So look at this, bro. 12 games. 12 games as a rookie. He started 11 of them. 91 catches, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns in 12
Holy
games.
shit. Damn.
And then Jamar Chase has, I believe,
1,400.
he had 1,400. That was the
Yeah.
record at the time, right?
Yep.
I don't know if it still is. And I think Justin,
So
I think
Jefferson broke it
didn't,
the year before, and then Jamar broke it the year
yeah,
after.
Jefferson broke it and then Chase broke it.
Yep.
So I have, yeah, I'm going to go Odell start, Chase bench, Jefferson cut. If you look at the pure numbers,
Yeah.
Chase had the best overall rookie season,
Hmm.
but obviously we have to factor in that Odell did not play the whole season as a rookie. So if you're going by just pure game, I mean per game stats, like I don't even think it's close. Like this guy was playing at like a wide receiver one, all pro level as a rookie. And then he peaked as a rookie. That's crazy.
Yep. He'll never be this. He'll never be the same. So I'm gonna do. I think Jamar just had the best rookie wide receiver season of all time. So I'm gonna put him as a start. I'm gonna put his college teammate as the bencher, Justin Jefferson, because he did break an all-time record in Randy Moss's all-time rookie receiving record. And then I'll
Yeah.
I'll cut Odell. I think Odell. I just hate all New York. I hate the Giants. Hate all that. So he actually had a really good
Oh
game against
my.
the Patriots that year. Um, so yeah, or he was bullying Malcolm Butler. So I didn't like that. I didn't like how he was bullying him, and he took one for like 80 yards to the house against us. So I'm gonna go Jamar Chase, 1,400 yards, 13 tutties, went to the Super Bowl, didn't even play his last year in college, and then he has that season. I think that's like incredible that you can literally just sit on ice for 1 year in college and then just go destroy the NFL. And then Justin Jefferson, I think he has one of the most iconic first touchdowns of any receiver of all time, where he's just catching a bomb across the field, cuts up, loses both defenders, and then gritting into the end zone. I think he just like made a name for himself with not only the younger generation, but also the older generation was just like, yeah, this guy's here. And he might be the better wide receiver out of both of them now. And then Odell, like I said, I don't think I was too keen of that guy. I think he was kind of I didn't fuck with him. My guy Trent, hopefully he's listening. He's my one of my best friends, an Odell. He's an Odell fanboy, Giants fanboy. I couldn't fuck with him at that time. So
Sometimes
that's
you
gonna be
gotta hate.
my
Sometimes you just gotta hate. I
yeah.
respect it. I don't agree with it, but I respect it. I've been there before. But
Like the shenanigans of
it's
fighting with Josh Norman. Like, come on, we don't need that in the league. Get this guy out of here.
it's like you said, Jamar Chase, he had the most if you're looking at pure numbers, he had the most historic rookie season.
Then you go to a Super Bowl too, and they
So
were not expected to go to the Super Bowl that year at
so
all.
I can't argue with that. But I just think for the time that they were on the field, Odell was the most dominant as a rookie.
Yeah,
And then he had that catch, one of the greatest catches ever, to really cement that historic rookie campaign that he had.
I can deal with the grittying in the end zone, but I didn't like Odell's
And
dancing. He was like hitting the folks and the nay nay, and I wasn't feeling that. Even though that was a great time to be alive.
and then he's never been the same since. I
Nope.
think it's funny. I have him as the best rookie, and then he's turned out to be the worst out of the three.
Yeah, he did.
And
He paved the
then
way for all LSU receivers, though. I'll give him that.
he had the
He made
best
them wide
rookie
receiver
year out
you.
of the three. In my opinion, he had the best rookie year out of the three, and then he ended up being the worst out of the three. And then I think Justin Jefferson, I had him as my cut guy. And so far, he's been the best out of those three guys.
I
Although
think you
Jamar
just like
Chase,
Odell's hair and tattoos. I think you're just a fan of that.
nah, man, I'm not. I mean,
You were gonna dye your tips blonde.
come on, bro. He just has that light skin aura, bro. I mean, he's not a Jason Tatum or anything, but he kind
Yeah,
of has
no, no,
some.
no.
He kind of has some aura. You got to give it to him. I've never been a huge Odell fan, but I'm not a hater. Like I appreciate when he was playing good football, I was able to appreciate it, you know.
Does have one of the best like highlight tapes of all time with his
And
one-handed catches.
when he came back and played for the Rams in that Super Bowl, I was rooting for him then too. And he actually had a good game in that Super Bowl too before he got
Then
injured.
the turf monster got him.
Yeah. And then that's pretty much been it. That's been the last how many years of his career? It's just injury after injury. Can't stay on the
Played with the
field.
Ravens, maybe caught like 20 passes, if that. Not
I
even.
forgot he was even on the Ravens. That's insane.
hmm He was nothing. All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go QBs from last year, the 2024 rookie class. We're gonna leave Jaden Daniels out of it because he's obviously in a tier of his own. Can't even be he's second overall pick and can't even be in the same conversation with other guys in his rookie class. We're gonna do Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix. We're gonna go based off future, not based off last year. We're gonna go based off what their future is gonna be.
This is so
Start,
tough,
bench,
man.
cut.
This is
This is
really
kind of
tough.
tough because they're all pretty close.
We're basing it on the future. So if it
Yep.
was based on if it was based on rookie season,
Bo Nix
I would have
wins.
said if it was based on rookie season, I would have said start Caleb.
He had the
Nah,
worst rookie season out of all of them.
he didn't have the worst, bro. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I would have said start Bo Nix actually. Bench Caleb Williams and then cut Drake May. I know you're gonna
fuck
hate me
that.
for that, but that's where I would have gone. If we're going based on the future, this is still just as tough. Like either you're gonna hate me or Josh is gonna hate me because it's either Drake May or Bo Nix getting cut.
And you're
So,
starting Caleb, another guy with the hair. I think you just fuck with him because of his hair, dude.
but you think? I mean, bro,
You're a hair glazer,
I am. How could I not be, bro? Look at me.
Mr. Troy
Um.
Polamalu.
Oh man. Uh. You know what? Everything that I was gonna say, screw that. I'm going off the dome. I'm going off the dome right now. We are going to start Drake May. I'm not just feeding into this because of you. Screw you and the
Peer
Patriots.
pressure
Screw
at
you
its
and the
finest.
Patriots. We're gonna start Drake May. I just think that's a really I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think that's a really good situation for him being in New England. It's an organization that's accustomed to winning. Obviously, they have like a new coaching staff, so everything there kind of looks different. But I still think they have that culture of winning. I think they've done a decent job of putting the right pieces around him, or at least they're trying to put the right pieces around him.
Yeah,
Eventually, everything's going to start to click, and as he gets better, obviously, more players are going to want to play with him. And then I like the move that you guys did to pick up Travion Henderson in the second round. That was the second round, right? When you drafted
yeah.
Henderson.
Second round, early second round.
I really love that draft pick. Um, so I'm going to start Drake May.
Who are you benching?
I'm going to bench Caleb Williams
Okay.
just because of pure upside. If we're going based on what we saw last year, I feel like there's a lot of things in Caleb's game. Like there's a lot of things to like about his game, but there's also a lot of things to not like about his game. Like his
Yeah.
decision making at times is really poor. And I
hmm
think you don't see that as much with Bo Nix and um, Drake May. But also Caleb Williams, you have to give him a little bit of leeway just because he got drafted to the Chicago Bears. Like, let's be real. That's that's really bad. That's almost as bad as getting drafted by the Jets. Not quite, but it's up there. So I think he did a decent job given the situation. And like you said, the Bears, they started putting good pieces around him. Not just in the wide receiving room, but in the running back room as well.
hmm
Um, and if they could just get him a decent O line, I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think Caleb Williams probably has the most bust potential out of those three, but he also
I think
has the
so too.
highest upside, I think. I think he has the highest
Yeah.
upside, but he also has the highest chance of being a bust.
Hmm.
And then Bo Nix, I'm gonna cut Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix probably has a higher floor than Caleb Williams.
Definitely
But,
does.
if all three of these guys reach their full potential, I just think Drake May and Caleb Williams are going to be a little bit better than Bo
Hmm.
Nix. And that's not really a slight at him at all because he was really good last year. He came into Denver and like he really made things happen for them to be able to get them into the playoffs as a rookie. Nobody expected them to make the playoffs last year, except maybe Josh.
Yeah. I don't even think he thought that. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Gene made a
Yeah,
good point.
didn't Chicago
Chicago,
get didn't they get Joe Tooney?
yeah, they got a bunch of guys.
They
They
got a
kind of
bunch of
revamped
guys.
their whole offensive line.
But
So go ahead.
they're gonna have a really good year. Obviously, Caleb Williams is gonna have a tough time in November when he plays against that Steelers defense. He's probably gonna get sacked like 9 times, maybe throw 4 interceptions.
Yep.
But other than that, I think he's gonna have a solid second year campaign. Fields or May.
Obviously Drake May, dude.
Bro, you remember when Justin Fields was on the Steelers? This guy, Gene, used to say that he sucks.
He
Now
does
all of a
suck.
sudden Justin Fields is on the Jets and like he's your Lord and Savior.
All right. So my start, I'm sticking with you. I'm gonna start Drake May. I think he's just kind of got like he's got all the tools for an NFL quarterback for the
That's
future.
like
He can run. He could run. He could pass. He's so much better than Justin Fields. It's not even funny. I'm gonna bench Bo Nix and I'm gonna cut Caleb Williams. I think Bo Nix is kind of that NFL ready guy. He's a system quarterback type of guy. I think he's a just a good manager. And I just don't. I haven't liked Caleb Williams' game even in college. I just think he plays like a video game style game where he's just always putting himself under pressure, always
I'm gonna
having to kind
be
of.
I'm gonna be honest, I hated him in college too, bro. I hated him.
I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all. I thought everything is just off script with Caleb Williams, and I think he's just so inconsistent with. Does he know he can also just be a pocket passer, not have to run around every single time that he's like in the pocket? I mean, he took 36 sacks last year, and I think he's not going to know what to do with himself if he has a good offensive line. I think he's just going to be running around no matter what, no matter if that pocket's clean or if the pocket's getting collapsing. I just don't think he has that in him to be just a NFL managing quarterback for the future. I think teams are going to be able to scout and kind of trick him on defense, and him not going to be able to read what they're giving or what they're playing against him. While I think Drake May and Bo Nix might excel at that, I think that they're going to be able to sit in the pocket, be able to read defenses, be able to make the right decision time and time again, and that's kind of what a quarterback is. And so I think just
Yeah,
Drake May, yeah,
I
and
think that's
he's going to need some
crazy.
time.
I think, like I said, I think he has the biggest bust potential out of the three.
Mhm.
I don't see any scenario where Caleb Williams is a career backup.
That's not what
That's
Gene's saying. I think he's saying he takes a couple of years like off a team where he's not the main guy and he's not in the spotlight so much, and he can actually just like work on not being a diva and just play the game the right way. I don't think he's that bad. He comes from a Lincoln Riley offense, which is obviously really good in in college. But yeah, I think he's just. Did you see the thing where he literally wrote in his book that he was trying to get the Bears to not draft him, or his parents or his family was, and then he was like, you know what? I'll get drafted by the Bears. I think it's okay. Well, every other player is just like, just get me into the NFL. I don't care where I'm going. I'm gonna go try to make my name for himself. He's like, I don't know about the Bears. I get the Bears have had a bad kind of history, but if you're supposed to be Caleb Williams, number one overall pick, you should be able to turn that around no matter what.
for sure. Yeah, I agree completely with that. I never liked the idea of like I don't care if you're the number one prospect. If you actually believe in yourself, then you should have no problem going to any organization
Yeah,
and believing that you can turn them around.
yeah,
So
and I think Bo Nix
I
had a
did think
great
he was
year
kind of
last
a
year.
diva, but I mean, we've seen guys like that. Like that's what Eli Manning did when he was drafted. He basically cried his way out of San
Hmm.
Diego.
Yeah,
I mean, it ended up working out for him. He won two Super Bowls, but
that's because he's a Manning. He thought he would be able to have that pull because he's a Manning. I think so.
yeah. But Caleb Williams, I mean, and like you said, everything just seems kind of off script. I think Caleb Williams has gotten this far based off of just talent alone.
I think it's based off highlights and based off those plays where, like we're saying, like he's off script and he's rolling out to the right and he's making a pass across his body, and it might be right on the money, but at the end of the day, that's not what you need every single play to like in the NFL. You need to be able to make quick passes, deep passes, off
Yeah,
like on target, like not always just running around in the pocket every single time. I don't think it's gonna work. You're not Lamar Jackson, bro.
yeah.
Sophie
Doesn't work for
Cunningham.
everyone.
Sophie Cunningham can slide in these DMs and I'll fix your tooth for her. I got a special tool for that.
The mystery mouse tool.
All right, I think that's gonna be it on the show. Do you have anything else to add to start bench cut, or we're good? We're
I
about that hour and a half time. I know you had to get out of here, so
think that's pretty much it on the NFL. We'll see what happens with my boy Aaron Rodgers. He's my guy now, and it kind of sucks because I was never really an Aaron Rodgers guy. I'm not gonna lie. I've never been a big fan of him,
I
but
see
he's
the
on my team
ayahuasca
now.
in the behind you. You're doing it
Huh?
now. I see the
What?
ayahuasca behind you. You're doing ayahuasca now because
What are
you're
you talking?
Aaron.
Oh man. But Aaron Rodgers, just wait, man. The show is gonna continue. He's gonna come out, bro. I don't Aaron Rodgers is gonna have an incredible how old is he? 41? He's gonna have an incredible age 41 season. He's gonna be out there looking like Tom Brady and LeBron James with the longevity. He's gonna get us to the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens from there. There's no
Another
way
first
the
round
Steelers
exit.
there's no way the Steelers are not making the playoffs next year, though. There's no way they're not making the playoffs.
Stamp it. Patriots will be in the playoffs next year. That's all I know.
Guaranteed.
All
That's
right, that's
12.
it. That's it for this week. Broke down the finals. We talked a little NFL. We talked a little baseball. I think that's going to be it. Peace out, gang. Right on the money again on an hour 30. Tune in to episode 7 next week. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, follow us on all the socials. You'll be able to see kind of like what we're posting throughout the week. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your guys' week. It's a rainy day here in Orlando, so take advantage of it. Have a good day, guys.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. He won't and he never will. It's very dumb as hell.